Good morning, sir. Shall we start the session actually?
Yes, we can start.
Okay. Yeah, good morning to everyone for this wonderful gathering for the program of workshop on innovation and pitch deck preparation. I take immense pleasure on behalf of Department of Computer Science Engineering and our Arunai Engineering College. I take immense pleasure to invite our Vice Chairman Engineer 𝐷𝑉 Kumaran sir, our respected Register Dr. 𝅊_𝐶𝐶𝐿𝑁 sir, our respected and motivated Principal Dr. 𝐵𝑉𝐺𝑗𝑛 𝑔urumurthy IAS sir. So on behalf of Institution Innovation Council of Arunai Engineering College, and we have an association with the Computer Society of India Mumbai chapter, I welcome two eminent persons from the Capsules Lab from Kolkata, Professor Atanu Rao Chaudhary, who is a founder and CEO of an Capsules Lab, and Professor Bhaskar Chakraborty, who is an R&D department and academic relations in Capsules Lab. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Arunai Engineering College. Good morning, sir.
Very, very good morning, Professor Jyotish.
Yeah. So this workshop, I just want to make this workshop is the first time that the institution has been taking over this kind of workshop, especially on innovation and pitch deck preparation. As we are progressively making an Ideathon program since 2021, we have a version of 1.0. Now we are moving to 2.0. So I am so happy that we are more some kind of new activities that make us to be progressively make how the development of the product, the market. So
for them. Right? It could be a thing, it could be something tangible, or it could be something intangible, like something like, say, Facebook, which has become one of the largest companies in the world, even without selling a single piece of hardware, Oculus excluded. Right? So we see that organizations today can grow quite a bit if they are able to deliver, and how we are going to ask for money for that idea. Right, it's important to encapsulate that idea with potential, with a very good analysis of the market, and that is what the pitch deck is going to be all about. Right? How we are going to do today's session? We have a 2-day program that is lined up. Right? What will happen is I will probably go through a little bit of theory to help understand what are the nuances of creating a pitch deck, and then there are multiple activities that are there in place. Right? In order to submit responses to those, I will show you how to do that. Right? I believe this has already been shared. Please share this. I'll share this schedule on the WhatsApp group as well. Right? Now, if you will note that there are 9 activities to be completed. Right? From activity 1, 2, 3, information to problem definition to solution components to unit pricing, revenue sources, who is the customer, how do I reach the customer, how do I model the way the business is going to interact with customers, and what is the business model canvas. So those are the 9 activities, and after this we will get into the presentations from each team. Since there are 9 activities, each activity is being scored out of 100 points, right? So that's a total of 900 points. And we are expecting about 15-16 teams. So as you make your submissions, whoever makes the first submission will get an additional 11 points of timing score for finishing it faster, right? And gradually that number, the score will keep on decreasing. The score will keep on decreasing for subsequent submissions. Right? That's the basic scoring guide. It's put into a competitive spirit, but the larger goal here is that we should be able to understand what is going on, right? So it does not matter if you have the best solution out there. What is important is to do the exercises and submit something, right? So that said, the first thing I want to talk about is the platform itself, right? If you can go over to shorts.capsulelabs.in/4000, you will find the login portal for today's application, for today's workshop, right? You can go in there, you can sign up for Shorts.
Sir, kindly share the link so that the students can join.
Yes, it's in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's in the chat box. You can sign up for registration. If you wanted to have a team logo, you can go up and put up a team logo. You have your team leader's name, right? Registration stream you pick, there's only one option, which is called doc, because you'll be submitting a document at the end of it, right? Your team leader's email ID, and you should be and just make sure that you enter the roll number correctly. The system will not allow people to register with the same roll number across multiple teams, right? So just make sure that you put in the roll number correctly, right? If you wanted to have a Teams logo, you can go ahead and set a Teams logo, a Teams logo file over here as well, right? Okay. So once you are registering, just let me know. You will see once you get into the portal. Do we have a login? Do you have a? Yeah, you should be able to go in and submit other team members, right? That shouldn't be a problem, right? You're able to do that? Right, I hope people are able to log in. Once you log in, you can add additional team members, right? 5 members, 4 more members for your team, right? And your team approval will kind of show up as red until the team is approved, right? And until it is approved, you can see the videos that are there, right? So around 12 o'clock, you'll find that a data set will become available. So this is going to be a PPT template that you will receive in about 16 minutes time. So it's set for about 12 p.m. And subsequent to that, you will find each round starting, and you will find the question that will come up on the screen, right? You will fill the template up and take a screenshot, and you will be able to submit the screenshot as your response, right? That's how we are going to take submissions. So that said, let me get into the theory part of it a little bit.
So actually, the students are slowly doing actually. So,
no problem.
That is a startup. So I just also ask the students to put a query if there is any kind of a doubts in the group as well as in the chat box.
Yes. The team is my team is working on it, so they are completely available. So any questions you have with respect to joining, or any questions you have, keep posting it on the group. Not a problem.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Came out of a bunch of IIT grads who felt that it was very difficult for them to find information about restaurants they could order from, right? And eventually it became a startup, right? It was somebody's problem that they were solving, and if you're solving that using technology, we call it technopreneurship, right? So entrepreneurship, technopreneurship, these are behavioral acts. Whereas business is a legal entity. Business is something that exists on paper. Business is something that has is as much of a citizen of the country as you or me, right? It has its own corporate identity. It has its own taxation numbers, right? So a business is almost like a real person, right? Now, how do these companies form? Right? How do people come together? At the very early stage where you are now, right? What you have is at a concept stage. Today, in about 2 weeks' time, you want to go to the hackathon, you want to go to the innovation challenge, and you want to present your ideas, right? So you are very much at that concept stage, right? Where you're thinking about how will I package my idea, right? And at the concept stage, this is where the founding team comes together, right? And founding teams, they inherently, when you have a team that is coming together and building a company, right? The first thing you need within the team is a lot of trust, right? Which is why you will find that wherever there are multiple people who have come together and formed a company, they went to college together, they knew each other from family, they they shared the same bus, right? Whatever it is, there is a long relationship which causes the team members to have trust within themselves. And mostly because there is so much work to do in a startup ecosystem, you want to form a team with people who have complementary skills, who have skills which are different from yours, so that they can take care of some activities that you cannot take care of, right? So founding teams, these are two major characteristics of founding teams, that they have a lot of trust within them and that they have complementary skills. Why? Because as a founder in a company, right, you have to do many activities. There are many hats that you have to wear, right? You have to set the vision and mission of the company. What will the company do and what will it not do, right? You have to set about, you're the, there's nobody else in the company, right? So you are responsible from drafting every letter, posting every letter, executing on every operation. There's nobody else, right? So it's the founding team that have to go about doing all these activities, right? You have to think about how to take your product to market. You have to think about how to recruit more people, right? There is nobody else. You have to think about how to maintain that bottom line and driving valuation, how to improve the, as you're delivering more value to the society, how will your pricings go up, how much money you will be making, where will you get your products from, right? What can you do in your company so that it runs things more efficiently? You're able to identify your customers better. You are able to delight them with more than what they can expect, right? So these are operational processes. You need to create your own brand, take it to market, and you also need to hear the customer's voice, right? So founders, they have their hands full. They have a lot of things that they have to do, which is why you want a team. You want a team that can support you, right? Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming work. So that is why the way we have organized this, we have teams of 5, so that we have 5 different people who are going to look at the same problem from 5 different angles, right? Some of you are going to look at the operational side. Some of you are going to look at the marketing side. Some of you are going to look at the technology side, right? So it's just distributing the workload, right? But remember that each team, you are all working as a team, right? And a team will be efficient only if they know each other, only if they trust each other, right? Because only then can you have a common purpose. Right? The reason we have formed it as a team, and I'm asking all of you to give a name to the team, is so that there is common purpose within the group, right? You are all coming under the same name. Having a common grounding point allows the team to have a common vision, right? So you are all trying to do the same thing. That is why it's a common vision. Usually when you build a startup, right, you might be doing X, Y activities today, but those are subsets of a larger vision. Right? Your vision has to be broad and strategic, right? It has to be large enough so you can tell people that there is a there is a solution that you are trying to provide. For example, Ola, right? Now, if Ola bought 5 cars and tried to create a travel service, it was possible. It would have been a small business, but it would have been very much possible. But they had a larger vision in which they said, why don't we build a platform so that I can connect the customers with drivers, right? That's why their reach is so large, right? So vision is usually broad and strategic, because when you go and talk to an investor, the investors will align on the strategic vision of a organization, right? If you are talking about, say, climate change, right? Yesterday was Earth Day, right? If you're talking about a solution that helps to stop climate change, then there are serious investors who may be interested in your ideas, right? Of course, you will not have a solution to that from day one, but what you are doing may contribute towards it, right? What next? Once you have a vision and you have a team, the next important thing to do is to understand, where do you have a play, right? What solutions are available in the market? Because you are building a startup, you have your idea because you want to solve a problem, right? And if that problem exists, who are the people for whom that problem exists, right? Are they students like yourself? Are they faculty members? Are they colleges, right? So who is going to be your potential customer, right? And if they have a problem, how many of them have that problem? Right? Now, you can do rough estimates about this, right? For example, we are a LearnTech EduTech organization, right? So we work with a lot of colleges. So for me, an upper bound would be, how many engineering colleges are there in India? There are about 5,942 engineering colleges, right? So I have a number in mind. It automatically tells me how many people, what is the maximum number of people I can reach within India, right? Or if my market is West Bengal, then I know that there are 92 colleges over there, right? So it, depending on the market, I now understand how many people are maybe facing that problem. And if they are facing that problem, how are they solving it today, right? Are they doing it manually? Are they asking an expert to come in and solve it, right? Because if there is a problem, people have found out some way to solve it. What you are doing is you are changing that process so that it can be done faster, it can be done in greater volume, or it can be done more efficiently, or it can be done with less errors, right? So that is where your innovation is coming in. You have to identify where that market gap is. And you can do that using a number of different approaches. You can do that by looking at your competitors, right? Where are they selling? Who are they selling to? What is the patent landscape? How many people have filed patents in that area? Does that leave an area open for you, right? Is there a particular feature that could be of demand in the market that the competitors are not providing, right? So whatever that is your market gap. And one of the quickest way to do it is by doing something called a SWOT analysis, right? Where we look at your idea and we say that, okay, what are the strengths that you bring to the table? Maybe your team has a lot of experience in one area, right? Which becomes your strength. Similarly, you may not have experience in a particular area, right? You may have to do some new things in order to build your solution. So those kind of become your weaknesses, right? Those are risks. And for every weakness, you can create a plan which will say how to convert that weakness into a strength, right? For example, you want to build a nice website for your product and you find that you do not know JavaScript. Right? So you can say that, yes, I do not know this. So either I need to hire an expert or talk to somebody, or I need to learn JavaScript and build it myself. All three are valid solutions, and each solution has its own pros and cons. Right? The other two things that you look at are opportunities and threats. Right? Opportunities and threats are essentially narrow, right? Because plans, the way you're going to plan your organization, the way you're going to set your goals are going to depend on your mission statement, right? How much are we going to do in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, right? It is not unusual for investors to ask for a 5-year plan as well, right? So that's where we get into mission statements, right? Then you are ready to start a company. At this point, you're ready to start a company, and I won't go too much into those details yet. But starting a company means that you need to have, as I said, a company is a business. A company is a legal entity, so it must have its own registration done with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? It can have a DIP number associated with Startup India. There needs to be a memorandum of there needs to be articles of associationship. There needs to be a memorandum of associationship. When a company is registered, it will get a company identification number or a SIN number. The directors of the company need to have director identification numbers. There needs to be a trade license issued for the company. There needs to be a PAN number, a TAN number, right? A permanent account number and a taxation number, right? Your company might need a domain name, so you might need a domain to be registered, right? So company formation has a bunch of compliance steps that mostly your CA will take care of. And today, under the new Companies Act of 2013, it is very, very easy. We also support not only private limited companies, but today we also support limited liability companies, which is what most startups would become, right? So the directors in a limited liability company is not, their personal assets are not liable to be seized in case of a default, right? So that said, when you formed a company, your first job essentially goes to go out and look for money, right? Which is where the pitch deck comes into the picture, and you are going to go out and ask for money, right? In the meanwhile, let me interrupt you that we have the presentation, the template for the challenges should be available at this point, right? I shared a few pitch decks with you yesterday, but the purpose of a pitch deck is essentially to raise investments. But at this point, you don't really have a product, right? But you go and explain to the investor what your vision and mission is, right? What is the problem statement that you are trying to solve, right? Whose problem are you trying to solve, right? What is your market that is available to you? What does your product look like? Does it have a website? Is it a new algorithm? Is it a new thing, right? What is the product that you are making in order to address that problem statement, right? How do you plan to grow, right? How are you going to get money? Where are you going to get money from, right? How are you going to grow? Why are you requesting for money? When do you think you can reach the market? And then what your team is, right? Everybody with me so far? Right? So typically, pitch deck like this is from a very large company today. It's a multi-billion-dollar company today called Airbnb. But when it launched, it raised $600,000 from its early stage startup money, right? Angel funds, if you will, right? And what they did was 10, 14 slides. What is the problem that they are facing? What is the solution? Their solution is a web platform where users can rent out their space to host travelers, right? What are the other competitions? How many bookings they are getting? What is their market size? How many trips were booked? How many are booked on the budget and online space? Therefore, how many trips do they expect to be booked within Airbnb? What is their product? Their product is a web portal that allows somebody to search by location and look at review the listings, right? And the business model is simple. They are going to charge a commission for every booking that is made. Therefore, they are projecting a $2.1 billion revenue. How are they going to advertise? They're going to put it up on Craigslist. They're going to put it up on, they're taking a completely online approach to it and making classified ads in order to go to market. Who are their potential customers? What advantage do they have? What is their team? Who are the people in their team? And if they're getting any good press, then they are covering that as well, right? So we will not cover the press and the competitive, we'll do the competitive advantage part, we'll not do the press part of it, right? The first assignment, therefore, is the team, because the team becomes very important and knowing your team members become very important, right? So, yeah, once you have the pitch deck, you have the money for making the product, you create something called a minimum viable product, right? And the minimum viable product is out of all the things you wanted to do in your product ideas, you have to rank them. How many of them are going to create the most impact in the market, right? So that creates your minimum viable product, right? And whenever you are launching this product, you have to take care of a few things, right? For example, if you are selling some kind of a food item, right, it has to have proper certifications in place, right? It needs to have, how are you going to prove that your product is doing what it is saying that it is doing, right? So those are the kind of efficacy measures. What is the IP that you are generating in your MVP? Those are things that you should be aware of, right? You have an MVP, you launch it into your test market, you see how the test market is reacting, whether it is getting adopted in the market or not, and you go back, refine your MVP, because every feature that you make is going to cost you money, right? So you cannot make everything all at once. You start with a few and then you keep on adding on to that, right? At this point, you are now ready to grow to the growth stage of the organization, where instead of just going into the test market, you get into your expansion plans. How do you create new product lines, new services, new territories, new offices, right? And each expansion leads to more investments coming into the market, which allows you to grow even more. Then you have entered into the growth stage of the company, from where on you move into corporatization, where now you have functional teams which are taking care of individual activities. So instead of the founders having to do everything, now you can hire teams which are good at doing what they do, right? So what was the founder's role early on has now become functional roles, right? The entrepreneur's hats have become organization structures, and there are different roles that are being created to essentially do the tasks that were done by the founders earlier. So today's the way the teams have been set up is we are going to have a team of 5 members. There's going to be a CEO who's going to be setting the CEO is responsible for overseeing the activities of the whole team and making the final presentation, right? Then you have the COO who will be looking at what are the operational processes and how they are going to be done. So even though one of you would be responsible for each of the following activities, everybody has to work together and agree on what is being presented in each of the plans, right? So today we have a CEO, a COO, we will have a CFO, a CTO, and a CMO in each team. Right? As the company grows, it kind of gets into that IPO stage, it gets matured, right? And it enters the market, becoming a larger organization, right? So that brings me to the first assignment that you will get, right? The first assignment is for team formation and logo. If you are joining, if you have logged into the Shorts platform, shortly you will start to see a template like this, right? You already have, I think all of you should be able to download your template at this point, right? Go ahead, download the template. The first slide you will find there is the team slide. You can click on any of these pre-made boxes and fill in the details, right? What you're going to do in the first assignment is put a picture for every person who's a member of the team, right? Add your name and the role that you are going to be performing. And I want every team member to talk to your other team members, right? And write something about each team member. Why do you think you are good for that particular role? Right. So naming your team is 10 points. Use the template to update the photos. So 3 points for that. The names and roles, that's 1 more point, 5 of them. So that's 15 easy points, right? And a few words about why a particular team member is a good fit in that role, right? What capabilities do they have from their experiences in class, in college activities that make them good for that role, right? So 5 of those, so 50 points there, and creating a name for your team and a logo for your team, right? So total of 100 points. You have, I think, 30 minutes for this assignment. You have 40 minutes for this assignment, right? It's a very easy assignment, so it should not be a problem. And then we will break for lunch for 1 hour while the submissions are going to get graded, right? And we will come back with a little bit more theory at 2 o'clock on the same link, right? Everybody with me?